Good morning. No, good afternoon. It is 4:30 and today is Monday, May 20 23rd. I'm waiting for Katie to get here, and in the meantime I thought I would put together the compilation of videos that I took of how things went during the month of April. It was a very busy month, and I didn't do a lot of documenting. I probably should have done more, but I think I've done enough to really give you a picture of what we were dealing with. After the second load, where we got here with the truck and trailer, the two cats and the dog, and my car, we kind of just dropped everything and just relaxed a little bit, went and got something to eat, and game planned what we were going to do. It was late enough in the day that we just came back, went to sleep, and the next morning we just got at it. And that day kind of set the tone for the rest of the month. We would sleep until around 9 or so, get up, have breakfast, and then just we would kind of go in two different directions. He would go and do what he was going to do for the day, and then I would do what I was going to do, and we would pass each other. We'd bring each other over to look at this and look at how this is looking. We would find things and we would show it to each other, but for the most part, we did things separately. He was working a lot on getting the yard squared away, fixing the things that needed fixing that were broken. He was cleaning out the basement, which is not done and won't be done for a while, but it's probably a lot better than it was. He was trying to sort out how to get rid of the raccoon that ended up finding its way back, or for the first time, into the ventilation area in the house between the two floors of the addition. He did a little research and found that raccoons don't like the sound of human voices, and so he put a radio on a talk radio station into one of the vents and just left it on, and we just let it go all day. We've never seen the raccoon again. So he patched it up, the hole that it crawled in through, and it's not been disturbed since. We also had a struggle for the first 2 weeks with a sound of a smoke alarm, with the battery going dead, how it makes that intermittent beep. And it was like every 56 seconds, I think Tim timed it. And it was driving us crazy. We could hear it mainly in the main hallway, the main entry hallway. And we took down all of the smoke alarms. It wasn't any of them. But we kept hearing it. And we knew there was no way we were going to be able to sleep in that master bedroom, even after I got it clean, if that was still beeping like that, because it was echoing right up into the master bedroom. At night, we wouldn't hear it in the game room. We shut all the doors, turned on the fan, and we couldn't hear it. But during the day, it was going all day long, and we kind of went back and forth looking for it for a while and then get back at what we needed to get done. My task was to get the kitchen sanitary. We discovered that that mice had gotten into everything, every cabinet, every drawer. And so everything had to be pulled out, had to be cleaned and sanitized. Every cabinet and every drawer had to be scrubbed down deep and then allowed to dry thoroughly before anything could go back in. We didn't see any more mice, and I hope we don't. We're doing what we can to try to keep them from getting back in, but we live in a rural area with farms all around us, and it's just a fact of life. We're just going to have mice, but we don't want them in the house, and so we're going to do what we can to keep them out. But in the meantime, with him cleaning the basement, me cleaning the kitchen, and I'm sorting through all of these dishes and glasses and trying to match sets up together. We keep having this beeping, and it was driving us crazy trying to find it. We would stand in different parts of the hallway to see, can you hear it louder here? Can you hear it louder there? We moved things because we had stuff everywhere, stuff of ours, stuff of theirs. We would move things around, and it would, then the sound would move. And that should have been our first clue, but it wasn't. But this went on, like I said, for 2 weeks. We had people that would come in and they couldn't find it either. We called people and asked for advice and nothing helped. So finally, Tim decided to kind of make almost like a gramophone looking earpiece. He took 2 lampshades, one bigger, one smaller, and fit them together, and then laid on the floor with that in his ear so he could isolate exactly where that sound was coming from. And he's moving around on the floor, and I'm just walking around him because I'm going back and forth with dishes and glasses and setting up zones in the ballroom and on the big dining room table for all of these things. And so I'm walking back and forth and stepping over him while he's doing that. And then he calls from the hallway into the ballroom and says, "What do you have in this suitcase?" And that's when it hit me. And we went to the suitcase, opened it up. It was one of the ones that had been in the garage on our last day there, when we were just chaotically throwing everything in any available suitcase or box or container that we could to get it out of there. One of our smoke detectors ended up in there, and apparently its battery was dying. And so all this time, it was in a suitcase. So we ripped the battery out of the thing, and the problem was forever solved. So then I was working hard on getting all of the dishes and glassware sorted and organized, and I decided that I needed to count at least the dish sets. The ones that I am not keeping added up to 45 complete sets of dishes. Some were massive sets and others were smaller sets, but they were 45 complete sets. And then I was keeping, I think I kept 5 or 6 sets, something like that. But it was crazy. Well, then I needed to get everything kind of documented. We didn't know what was valuable and what wasn't. I mean, some of the things I looked at it and thought, this looks like it's probably valuable, but I didn't know for sure. And so I'm doing research on Google and everywhere else that I could think of to find each of the pieces and the sets that I had. And then I would document what they were worth on the bin they were going to go into. And then I decided I would bring down bins and bins and bins of fabric from the sewing room because it was overloaded with fabric. And I would take the pieces that didn't seem like they were anything I would be interested in keeping. And most of them weren't big enough to make anything out of. And so I would use those to wrap the dishes in and then bin them up. I have, I think, 6 sets of dishes binned up at this point. The rest not. But yeah, I documented it as well as I could. I'm still in the process of getting it out of here. Katie is coming. I'm waiting for her to get here. She should be here in a few hours. And I'm going to let her look over what's there, and anything she doesn't want, the rest of it's just going to go. We're either going to sell it if it's worth anything, or we're just going to donate it because it's just got to get out of the house at this point. We kind of look like zombies most of the time. You're going to see that on this video. Try not to be too afraid. I'm really not half dead. I just look it. But that was the month. It was cleaning, organizing, getting things together. We put all of the antiques into one room, and we put all of the dishes and glassware in another room. And we've just tried to create logic in the hoard. And as we go, we're always looking for any keepsakes, any memorabilia for Romeo and Juliet, and get those sent to them. Their friends that live up the road from us are also our friends now, and they're helping us to get those things to them, and or to at least contact them and say, do you want this, yes or no. There's been some very sensitive things, touching things, like lace from her daughter's wedding dress, pictures, baby shoes, things like that. And it's just been an interesting journey getting to know Juliet. And I don't know if I've said before that I call them Romeo and Juliet, but I figured that's the best way to identify them because there's so many Romeo and Juliet pictures and statues all over this place. I don't know if he was as much into it as she was, but yeah, I just feel like I need to give them an identification while I'm doing these videos, but I don't want to use their names, and I don't want to just keep calling them the previous owners. I feel like I've gotten to know them quite a bit and care about them, especially Juliet. I care a lot about Juliet. Romeo is just kind of an interesting guy. I don't know if he's someone that I would get along with, just based on stories we've heard, but I know Juliet pretty well by now, and I think that we'd get along really well. Anyway, that's where we're at this point. We've spent the full month just organizing, sorting, and sanitizing, getting this place to feel like we live here. We're not just staying here. The cats have adjusted, Saber especially. It took Piccola 2 weeks to come out of the game room. She just wouldn't come out. She only came out at night and would only to curl up in bed with me. It took us 2 weeks before I could even go into the master bedroom and consider cleaning it. We had to remove their bed, just leave the frame, and then sanitize the frame, put our bed in there, our mattress, our own bedding. I took down the curtains that hung behind the headboard. I felt like that was just too much, and I felt like it was also a cobweb catcher, and I don't need that around my bed. So we took those down. I took down all the drapes in the room and washed them and put them back up, cleaned out all the windows, and scrubbed that floor. Even though it's a wood floor, I scrubbed it clean, and it needed it. I shampooed the carpets that are in there. And I, of course, because of the mice that were also in the dresser drawers and in the walk-in closet, everything had to come out, and everything had to be washed and sanitized right down into the crevices of the drawers. So it was a huge job. I wasn't looking forward to it, and for the first 2 weeks, I just kept the room shut. I couldn't even go in. But then once we got it all cleaned up, it felt so good. I was comfortable sleeping in there. So yeah, we've been in there ever since, and it's a really good part of the house now. I feel really happy when I'm in there. So that's where we're at this point. We've started branching out, traveling out into the local area, trying to get to know the area, going to restaurants. We went to the flea market. We're just trying to get to know the area and feel like it's home. And that's probably going to be the biggest challenge, is really settling in. And in April, that full month of April, that's what it was really all about, was just settling in. So I put this together. Hopefully the hodgepodge of videos makes sense. Good morning. It's Wednesday, April 20th or something. I don't know. We've lost all track of time. But it's morning in the hoarder house. Another day. Kind of show you a little bit of we've made a fair amount of progress. But now it's time for another day of sorting and organizing. as I was preparing to document all of the dishes and the glassware and the serving pieces, and I had them laid out on the floor, I photographed each set individually, and I thought I'd give you a little peek at what I'm going to be dealing with once I really get started. As I document each set, I'm focusing in on any stamps or information that's on them. I take a picture of the whole set, and then I take a picture of any piece that has detailing on it, like that cup. And then I'm going to box them each up so that they're off my floor and we can actually use this room. But I needed to be able to spread out in an open area, which there aren't very many in this house right now, as we go through and categorize and document all of the things that we feel like we want to try to sell, and get rid of the things that we don't feel like have any value, and destroy the things that we feel like not only don't have any value, they're just garbage, damaged, whatever. So little by little, we're going through this house and we're going to open it up and make it as beautiful as it was intended to be before it just got overwhelmed with stuff. I don't really know the owners, the former owners, because we're now the owners, the former owners personally, but just judging from what we have been told and from what I've just kind of gathered from going through the house, I feel like she had a problem that she couldn't stop. She became addicted to buying all of this stuff and ran out of places to keep it. I mean, she has a lot of cabinets that I think she started out keeping it in, and it looked beautiful. But then it got ahead of her, and then things just got jammed in every possible opening she could find, any cabinet, any cupboard, and then it spilled out of there and was just stacked on counters. That and the fact that they had to leave in a rush. They had about 1 week notice to get out of the house, so they didn't even have a chance to pack a lot of things. We have found mementos and personal items that we have sent to them. And as we find them, we'll continue to do that. Saber, stop that. So here I go, boxing the first of over 40 sets. She also I have a craft room and several other rooms that are jammed with fabric, some of it in pieces because she was a quilter. She was also a costume maker, but some of it is just big strips of it. And I may keep some of it, but most of it I'm not going to keep. And so I've decided to use it to pack up the dishes. Figure, use what you've got. So I'm using this particular bolt of fabric just to kind of fold back and forth under each dish. Place the dish on top and then fold it back again for the next dish. try to get the whole surface of that dish covered before I put another dish on top. There. Today we're making another run to the thrift store for a big donation. I've been sorting through fabric for days and days and days, and we've ended up with 9 full bags of fabric. There's some here that it's either too small for somebody to make something out of, so I'm going to try to put together little quilting packets, or in this case, some of this I'm saving for my daughter Katie and anybody else in our family that may decide to crop up wanting to sew. And some for me, because I like to sew, but I'm trying not to get carried away. We are trying to empty a lot of stuff out. In the process, we have collected quite a number of personal items from the previous owner. Bundles of things like cards and letters over the years. I'm not going to show them so that I don't want to identify the owners, and I don't want to invade their privacy, so it's just touching and sad at the same time. And they left so much behind that was personal because they didn't have time to search for it. A lot of it was quite buried, and they didn't have time to gather things up. Their moving time was reduced down to just 1 week to just get what they were going to get and get out. And Saber's looking for attention again. What's the matter, Saber? What's the matter? What's the matter? What? Are you feeling lonely? So Tim is out getting the truck ready to put a load of stuff in. We've got fabric and note cards and some patterns. I kept a lot of the patterns. We've got just all kinds of things. Just boxes and boxes of things. And this will be like our 8th or 9th load. I can't remember. And we still have quite a bit to go. But I am sorting and organizing. And I've got, today's project was the sewing room, which Holly wants to have for her bedroom, but she may change her mind when she gets here, I don't know. It has the washer and dryer in it currently, which I kind of like. I've grown to like it, but this is the craft room. As you can see, there is still a lot, and I've done a lot of sorting and purging, but there's so much more to do. So I wash things that I think either just need to be washed before they're donated or that I'm planning to keep, and then try to figure out where I'm going to put it if I'm going to keep it. And if it's too much of a struggle, I just don't keep it. But we've got the bathroom pretty well organized. There's some things that still need to find homes. And we have the bedroom nearly done. I haven't cleaned it up today. Still doing some unpacking, but it's mostly done. Turn you can kind of see a little better what I'm talking about. Haven't made the bed yet today, but I will do a before and after video of everything that we've done. I finally got this hallway cleared out, except for the mattress that needs to go downstairs. And we've got the Juliet balcony mostly cleared out. The floor needs to be clean because there are bird droppings everywhere. And nice, maybe a little bit of paint here and there, but otherwise it's in pretty good shape. But so much more still to do. This chair needs to go downstairs. We have to find a nice home for it. Just so many things they left behind that are very personal. And I'm sure that, in those bags of fabric, there were probably projects that she was working on, quilts that she was planning to make, gifts she was making for people that she just never got to. One of the things that I've been sorting that has been pretty surprising, if I can get over there, you can see these bins here. They are all cookie cutters. And I actually already donated a larger bin full of the aluminum cookie cutters, and yet I still have a bunch. And I've kept some for myself, so I'm kind of hanging on to those to see if anybody, friends or family, want to have any cookie cutters to sort through. We've mostly got the living room done. Still have a lot of our boxes to unpack. Some of these are holiday things and some of them are flowers, but what's left will get done. These boxes have some of the dish sets boxed up, so if I decide to just donate them, I can. We're going to home this away into a closet till the holidays. This is the dishes that I still have left to find homes for. Back there are boxes of things that Katie has selected. And here is the glassware that I've decided to keep. And in this hutch is my Christmas china that I'm going to keep. And then I've got all of this glassware to find homes for. And then this is stuff that I've decided to keep or I am setting aside for like Mindy. And this stuff is for Miley. And of course James and Haruka. Matthew hasn't requested anything. I don't know if he will. I've got all this glassware still. All these little tea sets. I found yesterday more dishes, more plates. There's these, and then a whole set of these that she had packaged up. It's just different, basically different nativity type scenes, I think. But yeah, I'll have to go through those now. Hooray, more to go through. Her little tchotchkes that as I find them, I add them to this table. A lot of them are salt and pepper shakers. I've got some of our silver displayed now, finally. Hung my picture up. And I'm starting to put away linens and candles. She had a lot of candles. The kitchen, it varies between really nice and clean to this when I find something. And I have found a bunch of things that I just need to decide, are we keeping? And if so, where? Solarium, I have a few things that need to be taken outside. I'm putting this in the chicken coop. I know. And I bought a bunch of plants and flowers that need to be put outside. Duncan probably needs to go outside for his every few hours potty break. And we put our hummingbird feeder out, and we saw a hummingbird on it yesterday. I'll try to get a video of him if he comes back, or her. all of this was in the front room, and then we sold one of the pieces of furniture from in there, and so it all had to come in here to get out of the way so we could move it. So now I'm backed into a corner of having to deal with it, and I don't really want to deal with it. And then we've moved a lot of the antiques that we're listing for sale in here. I put my hutch in here that is going to have my nativities in it. And then more candles. I don't know if I'm going to keep all of those. We have this big hutch that I don't know if we're going to keep, and if so, how am I going to use it? And probably a couple hundred DVDs and videos, mostly VHS, but there are some DVDs in there, and tons of games that we have to figure out. And I keep this room closed because it's done. This room is done, except that mattress and frame have to go upstairs. But it's done. And it smells nice in here. Not that the rest of the house doesn't smell nice, but that smells particularly nice. This bathroom is just about done. We did a little work on the India room. Discovered that is a futon. That's kind of cool. And I started digging more things out to deal with all these books. I've been condensing all of the India artifacts into this room because that's how I'm going to decorate it. Yeah, lots to do in this room, but it's just in the clean out process right now. And then we call this the den. I don't know if it's going to stay the den. Got to get all these books taken down, and we're probably only going to keep half of the shelving. I put the big nativity in here, and it's going to go in this closet. I'm going to have to get this secretary cleared off and hauled into the other room to get it listed for sale. Magazines galore that need to go. But this room has a really nice view of the pond, and so it would make a really nice office, I think. And we've put some spinner things out that keep getting tipped over. I don't know if they get tipped over by the birds or the wind, but we're trying to deter the bird population out there. This is the dresser where I found those nativity plates that I need to deal with now. And then we'll figure out where that dresser is going to go. Still quite a bit to get done. But we're feeling like we can see some daylight now. Decided that I kind of like the big fridge. It is just huge, but the former owner never did anything by halves, and so he obviously liked having a huge refrigerator. Tim's gonna fix the microwave, but I just want to replace it, and I think I probably will. The pantry. I have some more sorting and organizing to do, but it's a pantry that you can actually walk in. More emptiness happening in the hallway. It's nice to have all that gone. And now we're gonna haul it away. That's one full truck.
Are you sure that's it?
For this load, yes.
Never tell.
Duncan! He's enjoying the wind.
Yes.
Aren't ya? And the Amish neighbors are cutting down trees like crazy. They have been all morning. I don't know what they're doing over there, but yeah, good on them. There's my magnolia tree. Oh, and I wanted to show you guys something we uncovered, Tim uncovered, I should say, wasn't me, in his excavation of all of the bushes over here. I think that they're some kind of evergreen, juniper or something, but a bridge over a little pond. And apparently the former owners were going to have a waterfall, which could work, but well, that's a lot of electricity. They also discovered that there's a statue in there. I would walk over and show you. I'll pull up the other video that Tim took of it. But with all the rain, we have mushy soil, and I don't want to walk through it in my shoes, and I don't have my wellies on. But yeah, she's down in there. You can kind of see her a little bit, maybe just a little. But there's also lights, a whole light setup. So he was ready to have lighting and waterfall. So we're going to do something with it. Haven't decided too much about it, but I do know we're going to light it up. And she is going to stand back up, but we're going to need the tractor to do it because she's big. These shrubs grew so much that they overgrew and pushed her over. So we're going to cut them way back. So they won't look so great this year, but they should look better next year. So that's the progress so far, at least inside the house. Outside of the house, we've had a little bit of progress, but mostly we're just, again, creating zones of what goes where. That is the going to the dump zone. Everything in that pile has got to go to the dump. And that is our new tractor, new to us, not new. Tim's favorite toy. And he's right now trying to construct a ramp to get the mower attachment off the trailer because it's massively heavy. And that is my wood chip pile that is going to be out here, spread out here to start creating my garden, which I'm not going to be able to put in until next year, but we can break the ground this year. That'll be super nice to have a garden, and in this economy, you need to have a garden. You really need to have a garden. I mean, it's survival at this point with food prices and gas prices and supply chain disruptions and all of that. So that's our day today. As soon as he gets that mower attachment off the trailer, we're going to unattach the trailer, open up the truck, and start loading everything up and take it over to the community thrift store in Andover. And then we have some errands to run, and we'll come home and get back at it. We typically sleep in till about 9-ish, but then we're up until easily, we're up, gotta get away from the radio so you can't hear it. So after our errands are done, we're gonna come back home and get back at it again, because that is what we do all day. We get up, usually we sleep until around 9-ish, but then once we're up, we'll go until 8 o'clock before we even realize that we haven't had any lunch, and now it's past dinner time. So then we'll eat something and be up again for hours more. We typically get to sleep around midnight or so. And then getting up at 9 is getting us about 8 hours or so of sleep. So we're getting enough sleep, but we are losing days. They just blend one into the other. But that is our life right now. Hopefully we're going to start seeing some more light at the end of the tunnel. It's been a big project, but it's going to be worth it. So, till the next video, hope you're enjoying your spring. Hope you're getting your gardens in. You should already have your peas and your onions up. But if you don't, you better get them in. And if you haven't started planning a rotation on the peas at least, you need to think about planting a rotation crop where you'll have peas coming in every couple of weeks. That's the best way to have a good healthy crop of peas. And kind of the same thing with some other vegetables, but peas especially. So, good luck with your gardening. I'm jealous that next year my garden will be what I've always wanted it to be. So, till the next video, have a great spring. We're headed off to Andover. We're taking the, I think, 6th or 7th load of stuff to a thrift store. This is a little community thrift store. And then we're going to go to the flea market. And apparently we're also going to Cortland to look at a trailer, I think. A lot of things to do on a Saturday. Today is April 30th. It's also Tim's birthday. We're here at the Andover Flea Market.